Continuing to talk about this possibly epic backcourt that Auburn has, you can't leave out our man Denver Jones. Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Barn Hoops podcast. It's Kyle Rush and Zep, our man Zep Jasper, ready to continue to break down this Auburn team. Practice is finally kicked off. Zep's got a little bit of practice action that he's been able to see here, and we'll know a little bit more as the week goes on. But tonight we're gonna talk about Denver Jones. We've been walking through the roster, talking about all these guys coming back. That maybe we talk about a lot about the guys coming in, but a lot of times you forget about who's already here and who's coming back for another year. And Denver Jones is one that I've been waiting to talk about because I think he's kind of primed for a breakout year. But before we get started, we got to give a shout out to our boy Ford Stokes with retirement results presented by Active Wealth. Look, you may already have your retirement plan in order. You may already have some sort of something in the works, but how do you know it's performing at its optimal level? How do you know that the money you've saved is enough? With all the uncertainty in the economy and interest rates, things like that, you definitely want to have someone take a second look. Ford Stokes is that guy. Check him out at retirementresults.com/plan. Get your free portfolio analysis. You're not talking about just getting a cookie cutter PowerPoint presentation. We're talking about deep diving in, looking at what you have and figuring out what's the best route for you moving forward. So Ford Stokes is the guy. Tell him where you go. Tell him I sent you. Ford Stokes with retirement results presented by Active Wealth. Zep, our man Denver Jones. Look, Denver was a guy that came in. I think he was one of the top transfer targets in the portal rankings, however they do it now. He was one of the top portal guards in whenever he went into the portal on the transfer market. Auburn seemed to single him out immediately and says, that's the guy we want. And they got him. And I think everybody was really excited. And he came in, and it took him a while. I don't know if it was a confidence thing. I don't know if it was. We weren't really sure exactly how to use him. But eventually, towards the end of the season, it was pretty clear whenever he got the ball in his hands, that thing was going through the hoop. Like he was putting it in. His stroke was getting better and better and better. And it seemed like towards the end of the season, he was really peaking. And I don't know about you, but I am incredibly fired up to see this final season here at Auburn and what he can do. I think he's going to be great. And maybe we forget about him a little bit. I think he's going to light it up.
I think Denver Jones is gonna light it up. He's a pure scorer. He's one of those guys. He can shoot the lights out the basketball. Once he see one or two go in, I feel like his confidence goes super high. Watch me today. Just getting shots up. He shoots so effortlessly. He's one of those guys that you can't leave him open because once he makes one, he's just gonna feel like the basket is getting wider and wider. And a lot of guys sleep on him just because he's not one of those guys who talks a lot, who make a lot of noise, but he's one of those guys that he handle all his business on the court. He do all his talking about getting buckets. He's a finesse type player, so shooting threes. He's one of those guys he can surprise you what he can do. He can jump a little bit, one dribble, two dribble pull up, but his shot is just clearly pure, super pure.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. So he shot 41% from three from deep last year, which is incredible. 86% from the line. And again, that was with having a pretty cold start to the year. I don't want to say cold start to the year, just an uncertain seemed like start to the year where he just wasn't quite assertive enough. And you wanted him to take more shots. You wanted him to get more looks, but it took a little bit of while for, I guess, him to learn build the chemistry with everybody else, especially with, the point guards and things like that. But once they kind of figured it out, he became a really big weapon. Talk about him. He got some run at point guard, and I think they're going to have to lean on him a little bit at point guard this year. Denver as a point guard. What do you see? Like, well, I know it's not his natural position, but I think, he looked good at times when he had to run it last year.
hmm I think he'd be just fine at point guard. He's one of those guards. He play at his own pace. If you watch him, he never get rattled. He always stay the same. Watch him at point guard last year against Kentucky when both of the point guards got in foul trouble. I thought he did a great job. I thought he could be more aggressive, but we can't just throw him out there and just think he can be aggressive because that's not his primary position. But to me, I think this year he'll play. He's going to play point guard a little bit, and he's going to be more aggressive. He's going to be more assertive, and he's going to know how to put guys in certain spots. Coming from FIU is kind of different. To coming straight to Auburn, being in the SEC, he had to learn and adjust to certain things on the court. Just like this year, our point guard is new. JP, he's gonna have to learn and adjust and figure out how can he be great and what he needs to do to work on his weakness when he go against guys that are better than him or guys that knows his weakness.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a question, a basketball, like a schematic question. Okay.
Mhm.
A lot of my friends, in the group text and things like that, we always talked about how Denver just needs more looks. Denver, you
Mhm.
got to draw up plan. You got to draw up plays. You got to get Denver more looks. How do
Mhm.
you actually do that? How do you go when you have a guy that you're focused on getting more looks? Like, what do you do to get Denver Jones in position to be able to capitalize on those looks? Like, how do you, what I know you draw up certain plays, but like walk me through like what's the goal? What are you trying to do to be able to get him on his mark to be able to put the ball in the air because he's going to make more than he misses. It seems like.
Well, BP system is made out of the 1 and 4 get the ball most of the time. But I feel like Auburn's team this year should be a run and gun type team. I feel like BP's main focus is as soon as the ball get out the rim, pitch the ball up to the 2 or the 3. I feel like once he gets those easy baskets, those would be 2 to 5 to 6 shots on just getting the ball to him, letting him shoot. He's already a 41% 3-point shooter from last year. I think this year he'll be a 43% shooter.
Mm,
But also getting him more looks on drawing
volume.
more plays. Value. He's a volume shooter. He's gonna make it every time it hits his hand. I feel like drawing up certain plays, elevator screens on closing them. But also put him in position to drive the basketball and, just try things he never tried. Like we didn't see the whole package of Denver Jones. He showed a little, but this year I feel like him with this being his second year, being a veteran, I feel like he's gonna show more of scoring. He's not gonna be afraid. Whether he's gonna have that mindset of Katie Johnson. Katie Johnson didn't care. He wasn't afraid of the moment to shoot the basketball, whether two, three people on him, he just didn't care. He was gonna make sure Katie Johnson did his. And I feel like this year he have everything he needs to be Denver Jones, to be the guy he was at FIU.
I love it, and that's a part of his game. I feel like that was sneaky. That's sneaky good. That was underutilized last year. Is that being able to drive to the basket, and because if he's more assertive, if he is more assertive and has that confidence, and they kind of work the offense to where he can come downhill a little bit, he's going to get to the line a bunch. I mean, he's bigger. He's 6'3", 6'4". He's athletic, so they're going to have to put bodies on him. He's going to get to the line, and he shoots 86% from the line. So, a confident Denver Jones is dangerous. I feel like a
Mhm.
confident Denver Jones that they feed the ball and let him, light it up. I think that's dangerous.
No doubt. Feed him the ball, having that confidence, I feel like it's super dangerous. Like I say, he didn't show his full irrational last year because this was his first year in. He was trying to get adjusted. But now, with this being his second year, I feel like he's gonna take the big jump and try to be all conference first or second team this year because he feel like he's one of the top players in the SEC, and I feel like they have been disrespecting him. But like you said, he's a laid back person, so he really don't do a lot of talking on social media. He does the talking on the court. So I feel like Denver Jones is going to be a first team All SEC guard this year.
I love it. I love it. Again, just get to think about sort of the embarrassment of riches that Auburn has in this backcourt. It's pretty crazy. We've walked through just about the whole roster now, and I mean, and think about everybody that we've talked about from the guard position 1 through 3 is somebody that can score. They're basically you got a bunch of guys that can score 20 points a game. Like you got a guy. You have you're too deep 1 through 3 can score 20 a game. And think about that. Like any one of those guys can go off in any single night. And it's I don't know that I can remember a backcourt. I mean, everybody's going to go back to that Final Four run. I mean, this is a. I mean, every single dude that steps out there, you feel like could go off any given night, and I think that helps each other. That helps them too. If you got, it's kind of like when you're talking football and you got multiple wide receivers that they can go up and get the ball. Like, who do you cover? It's kind of like this with Auburn's backcourt this year. Like, who do you take out of the game? Who do you try to neutralize? Because if you dedicate too much time to one of them, you're going to leave Denver Jones open, or you're going to give Tahad Pettiford 2 inches and he's going to take it to the hoop, or you're going to give, Chad Baker-Mazar, you're going to piss him off and he's going to put one in your eye. You know what I mean? Like he's going to get mad.
No
And he's going
doubt.
to shoot in your face. So, I mean, this is going to be a fun line. I mean, this is going to be a fun backcourt.
Oh, it's gonna be an extremely fun backcourt. Like I said, you don't know which guy's gonna score. You don't know which guy's gonna have a great game. It's gonna be a like a off balance type of night because, like you say, this guy might score, this guy might score. Then the next game, this guy might have more points than the other. So I'm looking forward to seeing the backcourt. I feel like we got the best backcourt in the SEC and also in the country. No matter what rankings say or what type of guy they put in front of him. I feel like Auburn got the best backcourt, and I feel like we're going to be the best, no
I
matter
love
who
it.
you put in front of them.
I love it. I love it. So you said you had a little scoop for us from practice, some
Hmm.
stuff you've been hearing about. Okay, now
Hmm.
Auburn only has one true point guard on the roster, a scholarship. Only has one true scholarship point guard on the roster, and that's JP Pegues. Okay, and then you
Hmm.
feel like you're gonna have to platoon a Denver Jones maybe sometimes, or maybe even Tahad Pettiford over there sometimes to fill in those minutes so JP can take a rest, or if there's foul issues or whatever. But you said there may be some other little something cooking that may be something to watch. Let us in on the info here.
Um, what I've been hearing and what have seen on film, I've seen a guy called Blake. He's a walk on. Shout out to him. Just for helping the team out and getting the team prepared to play against one of the toughest schedules in the country. They say Blake been unbelievable. They say he's been one of those guys. He can shoot. He can drive. They say the guy's just cold, and I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to see it. I tried to wait today to watch the practice to see how cold this guy is, but hopefully he keeps working. And I love to see a walk on to see how great he is and to see the hype. And I just hope he get a chance
Yeah,
because they gave Lior a chance. So now we're gonna see another guy who come in and be great, and hopefully he gets some minutes at the point guard.
I mean, hey, that they Blake, I believe it's is it Mushalik, or how do you say his last name? Uh,
Blake Mushli.
Yeah, there you go.
Hmm.
There you go. Blake Mushalik. He's from Trinity Christian in Dallas, Texas. He's a sophomore this year, 6'3", 190. If you can have a point guard, if you can get good minutes out of a point guard who's a walk on, I feel like that's stealing almost. That's almost stealing because you don't necessarily take up a scholarship spot. Maybe he could. I don't know exactly how many scholarships Bruce has. I know that at times he's only played with 12, and he's had that 13th that he could give to a Lior or somebody like that. But to be able to have a guy come in and like that wants it's just for the love of the game, you know what I mean? Be a part of it,
Hmm.
and I feel like that's a bonus, and I think that will be really fun. Hey, if you solve the problem of the point guard situation with a guy that's just here already, I mean,
Hmm.
that's like hitting the lottery. You know what I mean? It's like hitting the lottery. So I think that's going to be fun. I'm glad you got that little. I'm glad you got that little scoop. That hey, and you told me before you didn't you kind of undersold it a little bit. You said that he's been. You called him Jason Williams. He's been like Jason Williams. He's been lighting it up, throwing dimes, whatever, doing some good stuff. So that could be fun to watch. There's nothing more. There's nothing that gets the crowd hype more than a walk on either dunking, hitting a three, or something like that at the end of the game. Whenever the game, they go in and they don't get a lot of opportunities, and they can go in and score. If you can have a guy coming off the bench that is that can play and is a walk on, I think that's just an added bonus.
Always gonna be a great added bonus. Like you say, when walk-ons get in the game and hit a three or cross somebody up or get a dunk, it always electrifies the crowd. It's one of those things that the feeling. Could you imagine the feeling of scoring a point? You've been waiting your whole life to play at a Power Five school, one of the best schools in the country, and you hit that shot. It's like that feeling. It's like happiness. Your mom, your dad, your family, your friends, they all see that. It's like a dream come true. So shout out to Blake. I'm wishing him nothing but the best. Hopefully, I see baby Jason Williams on the court this year.
There you go. Hey, what's cool? What's cool to me about it more so than in the fans is like watching you guys cheer for them. Like you guys get just as hype
Mhm,
when they do it, than even the fans. Like y'all become fans. The players kind of become fans at that point in time. You sort of lose all bodily function and you just go nuts. That's a lot of
mhm,
fun to watch you guys. I'm sure that's fun for you to see them get rewarded as well.
mhm. Oh, it's very fun to see him get rewarded because, um, you know, I'm one of those guys. I never like to get all the praise. Guys like the walk-ons help us. They help us win these big games, these games,
Yeah.
all these type of games. So, I love for guys like that to feel special and feel needed also because, like I said, most of the time it's not just because of us. It's because of the walk-ons. They help us to get to where we need to be. So seeing those type of things, I love it. Shout out to Leo Berman because I always used to tell him I appreciate him so much, and I always wish him the best because he's one of those guys. He was great. He came to practice every day, laced his shoes up, and he always thought he was the best on no matter what he did.
Yeah, and those guys make you better. Those guys get after you in practice. They scout. They're the scout team that they make you better. So, love to
Hmm.
hear that stuff. I know you're going to be here a little bit. I can't wait to hear more about practice over the week. So, we'll jump back on later in the week and go over that kind of stuff and have a lot of fun doing it. Maybe Auburn's closing in on another commitment, another basketball commitment. We don't want to spoil that yet. We'll see what happens, but maybe we got something like that to talk about too as well. So we'll see. Guys, I really appreciate you listening. Zep, tell them where they can find you and love on you and support you.
You can find me at Twitter at RIP_QUAN5, Instagram at RIP_QUAN12.
Awesome, man. Y'all can find me at the_Charlie_5. And then anywhere you can get a podcast, you can find us here. It's another episode of the Barn Hoops podcast. We'll catch you next time.